Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to be solving the options challenge. So the first task says this function returns how much there is left in the fridge. If it before 10 p.m., there is 5 pieces left. At 10 p.m., someone eats them all. So there will be no more left, right? There will be no more ice creams left. So we have this function, maybe ice cream, that takes in the parameter time of day, right? And then returns an option. We use the 24-hour system here. So 10 p.m. is a value of 22 and 12 a.m. is a value of 0. This option output should gracefully handle cases where time of the day is greater than 23, that's greater than 11 p.m., right? To do, complete the function body. Remember to return an option. Okay, so we have the function, the test function that check ice cream, and then we have another test function, raw value. Another to do here, fix this test. How do you get how do you get at the value how do you get at the value contained in the option? Okay, don't change this line. Okay, so we have basically two to do's in this task. So um first things first, options is a type in Cairo that represents an optional value. So with option is actually an enum, right? It can either be some value or no value. So this is how it is being represented. So we have enum option of type T. It can be of any type, right? And then it can either be of some that contains the type, right, or none. So this is how options are, right, in Cairo. So when is some, that means it actually contains a value of type T. But when it's none, that means there is no value instead of using null, just like in every some other programming language, right? So carry doesn't actually like have null values. So option provides like a safe way to represent optional values, right? So just like this um, comment says that we should use option to output the option output should gracefully handle cases where time of day is greater than 23, right? We do not have time of day, according to this system, we do not have time of day that is greater than 23. 12 a.m. itself is 0, it's represented as 0 right here, right? So there's nothing like 24, 25, it is invalid. So 24, 25, and so on that are invalid times of the day should be none instead of null, right? So this would handle it well. Remember that we are using 24-hour system here. So after 12 noon, we have 13, that is 1 p.m. We have 14, that is 12 p.m. and so on. So 10 p.m. will be 22, right? And then 11 p.m. will be 23. So we need to complete the function body, right? And then we remember to return an option because the function itself return an option of use size, right? Okay, so um, let's complete the function body. So what we need to do is to first, we need to check that the time of the day that is being passed is actually valid, right? It is valid. It is a valid time of the day. So we can use if else statement. So we use if time of day is greater than 23, right? We want it to return none. This is how it's going to be returned. Option none, right? We just want it to return none. So else if time of day is right here, it says that if it's before 10 p.m., that is before 22, there is 5 pieces there. So if time of day is less than 22, right, we want it to return um 5, some 5. So that means there is 5 pieces of ice cream left in the fridge. Else, so at 10 p.m., everyone eats them all. So else, it should return none, like no pieces left. So that's 0, right? So that's option some 0. That should work. Okay, so let's test. Let me clear the out. Okay, we have a to do just right here. So it says fix this test. How do you get at the value contained in the option? Okay, so as you can see, even from the test, we have, okay, this will fail because we haven't like solved the second to do, right? As you can see from the test, we have and we have the unwrap method being called on the maybe ice cream. So adding unwrap actually helps to extract the value from the option. So normally the option is going to return some 5, right? Saying, okay, we have some 5, we have, it's like a box, right? So the box, we can name the box sum, and what is in the box is 5 pieces of ice cream. Now, if we want to get that 5 pieces of ice cream out, then we call the unwrap method, right, to get out the 5 pieces. So the unwrap method actually helps us to like get out the value, right, to extract the value from the option sum. But if the unwrap method is called on none, it will panic, right? Because it is empty. So it's meant to panic. So this is actually necessary because we need to compare the raw value. The raw value, that is what is being compared right now. So, for instance, here we are certain that maybe ice cream, this function, right, it takes in 9, and 9 is 9 a.m. in the morning, right, dot unwrap. If we not call the unwrap method, it still is going to return an option of some 5, right? Because, sorry, it's going to return, we want to, yes, it's going to return an option some 5, right? But what we want to actually compare it with is like the ordinary value, which is 5. So to get out the value, the raw value, we call the unwrap method. So that's basically what we need to do right here. Say how to get at the value contained in the option. You just to call the unwrap. So let ice cream. We have the ice cream variable. So maybe ice cream is cause this takes in argument of 12. That's That's 12 noon, right? So this is going to work. So we need to like unwrap it at this point to compare the return value from it with this. So we need to compare, okay, at this point, without the unwrap, these ice creams will return some 5 because, I mean, 5 is within the valid time of the day. So then unwrap, get out the 5, and then we can compare it as that, okay, this is actually valid. So it will not give us this error. So let's test and see what we have. Okay, our code compiles successfully. Let's move to the next task. So the next task we have a function simple option that takes in an optional target of option type, which is an enum, right? And then our to do is to use the is sum and is none method to check if optional target contains a value, right? Place the assertion and the print statement below in the correct blocks. So, okay, this is the test options function. So we have let target variable which saves the word Starklings of L252 obviously, and let optional sum equals to the option sum target. So it takes in this target word, right? Which is not empty, like it takes in a word, right? So we have let optional none be option none, it's empty. So we're calling both arguments inside this function. So what we are meant to do right here is to use is sum and is not method to check if the argument that's actually being passed contains a value. You know, at this point, if we are going to be passing optional sum, it contains a value, right? It contains the like word start length, but at this point, it doesn't contain any value. So we wanna be able to print it out, right? So I think for this, if it contains a value, this should, yes, this should print that what it contains is stack length, and if it is empty, option is empty. Okay, so basically, is is sum and is none are methods. So for is sum checks if um, an option contains a value. So it returns true. It returns a boolean. It returns true if the option is sum, if it actually like contains a value, and returns false if the option is none. But if we are calling is none method, right, it returns true if the option is none and returns false if the option is sum. Got it? So let's just write out the function. I can just get it here, right? So we can just do this if it's a conditional statement. It returns boolean, conditionals like if else returns boolean, so it's only right if we use like if else, right? So if optional target, which is this, we now call is sum, yes, is sum. If is sum, we want it to assert, we'll cut and paste it here. Assert that optional value dot unwrap, optional target, sorry, dot unwrap equals to start length. So if it does not equal to start length, it should display this arrow. All right, it should display this arrow. Else, else, else is none. Is none. Okay, I think I'm doing something wrong, right? So we could just do it like this. Else, okay, assert optional target, assert optional target dot is none, right? Show this error. Throw this error, error 2, right? And we want it to print this. We want it to print this. So basically, we take in if optional target is sum, that means if it actually contains a value, it should return true. So that's assert that optional target, this that is coming in, let's say from this that we're passing in, right? It contains value, which is some target, right? So the target is Starklings. So at this point, it's going to be some Starklings, but dot unwrap, we get out the Starkling value, and then Starklings is actually equals to Starklings, then it returns true because this is true. Else, we assert that optional target dot is none, right? If is coming with this, right, it's going to also return true, right? And then we want it to print option is empty. Now let's test. Okay, yeah, so that's compiled successfully. There's another method that we can actually use to solve this. So let me comment this out. We can use pattern matching. We can match it. So what we do basically is to okay, so we create an option. No, we do not need to create an option value. So we match it, match, and then what is the option value that we are bringing in? That's optional target, right? Optional target. So we open this, right? And then we test this case match the optional targets and the value of the option that is coming in, right? And then we'll call if it has a value in it that is of sum, we You can use any value. Let's use var, right? And then the arrow keyword, open this. And when we have a value, right, that's we assert it equals Starklings. So let me copy. I can just copy this. But at this point, we do not need to unwrap it because yes, we do not need to unwrap it because this value sum. Okay, so what I need to do is to do this val. We do not need to unwrap because we're actually getting like this this value itself, right? And then let's do for the none if it doesn't have any value. So that is quite straightforward. Option none, the arrow keyword, all right? And then we want to just print that the option is empty, right? Okay, yes, so let's test it. It's also compiled, so it just depends on which works for you. There can be like so many methods to solve a particular problem. Oh, well, since the task was actually tasked us to use a specific, we're just going to erase this, and then I'm going to uncomment this. Okay, supposed to comment this out. So I should test it and it should work just fine. Okay, so let's move to the next task. So we have the last task in the option challenge. We have a student struct, which contains name and courses of the student. So the name is of field 252, which can store strings and numbers, right? And then we have courses, which is an array of options. So it's an array where each element is an optional, can be an optional course, right? It should be an optional course. No, okay, it should be an optional grade. It should be an optional grade. Okay, so let's just check out this function. Let's check out this function. So that means if it is an optional grade, this course is an optional grade. So option can either be some grade, right? In that array, it can be some grade or none. That means representing no grade at all. Okay, so in case we have missing grade, the options allow us to like represent it. Okay, so we have function display, which takes in a reference to once you see these ads, that's like a snapshot, right? It takes in a reference to the student struct, and then it takes in an index, right? So we are first checking if the index is 0, print student name. If index is 0, right? So the next condition says if index is greater than or equal to student.courses.length. So we are getting the length of this student array, this courses, right, array. So if index is greater than or equals to student.courses.length, return these swings. So this actually makes it like prevent infinite recursion, right? So it says let course equals to student dot course dot at index. So we want to get the uh, course grade at the current index. So students dot courses dot, okay, yeah. So our to do is to modify the following lines so that if there is a grade for the course, it is printed. Otherwise, print no grade. This is the major. So we are of course going to be using pattern match. So let's do pattern, and then what we are taking in is okay, so this is actually or is already helping us to get um the course grade at the current index, right? The index. So we just use course. So option sum, if there's something contained, option sum, are we going to pass in? Option sum. Okay, let's just use any random. We can use grade, right? And then we have the arrow keyword, and then we want to print this. um, okay, so this I print grade is okay. We don't actually need to course dot unwrap. We can just like call the grade directly. Right, we can just call the grade directly. That will work just fine. So we do not need this one anymore. I can comment it out. And then we can have the second option. Option none. If there's nothing we want to print, modify the following line so that if there is a grade for the course, it is printed. Okay, otherwise print no grade. Okay, so let's just print. We want to print no grade. Okay, so display grade, we are calling this function. Now we'll take the student and then add one to the index so it can, okay, that makes sense. I think we are okay. So let's test and see what we have. So let's even check the test cases, right? Let's check the test cases. So we have the test cases, test or defined. So let courses and then we are creating an array. It's an issue. What is the issue that we have right here? Oh yeah, line 26. Okay, this is supposed to be a semicolon. Okay, so this test courses, it takes in an array of A, B, C, A. So it takes in an array of the grades, the course grades, everything has something in it, A, B, C, A. So we have student, let's new student equals, the name of the student is Alice, and the courses, these are the courses with the grades, right? So we now call this display grade function is being called, which takes in the snapshots of the student at index 0, right? So if that happens, so it takes in from here, it's just going to print, if index is 0, it's going to print the name of the student, right? And then go on, right? Same with this is another this is another test, and that we have some grades and some without any grade. So everything is just going to work as expected. Once there is the index, it passes, it prints it gets the name, and then we can also get the grade of the student, right? And that has brought us to the end of this video. In the next video, we are going to explore arrays in Cairo. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.